Someone said to me the other night, Mary, you know, we need to hear more about some of this stuff. The reason I want to tell everything is because sometimes I'm fearful we're going to start running people out if they hear what's really happened here. I want to know where the money went.
What money? What money?
Hey, when I got here, Mr. White, when you were here for 12, you've been here for 12 years. For the time period that you've been here, most of the money, the indebtedness was voted on by you and the others. When they got here, meaning Mr. Glacken and the rest, they got here was only $28 million debt. $28 million. When I got here, it was close to the 161. And you want to tell me about transparency? It's about time. It surely is.
You want to know what it is? Okay. First off, Mr. Mayor, I have explained this to you. This will be the third time in public. The first time I did was at a budget hearing in 2009. Approximately $74 million of that debt is encumbered by our village electric utility. When the village board approved the power plant, new power plant, at power plant number 2, we had two issues. We had the issues of the environment. The EPA was all over our neck because that power plant was burning oil and it did not meet the standards set by the federal government. On top of that, the people from Merrick, particularly, were lobbying very hard for us to replace that plant. On top of that, the capacity was not at the level that we needed so that the village would not be fined for not being able to produce the amount of electric necessary to run the entire village in the event of a blackout. So when you compare, so let's just start with the electric utility. When you compare our debt to other village municipalities, how many of them have their own electric utility?
The only problem we have there, Mr. White, is this.
Very few. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Pardon me.
That bond indebtedness is financed by the electric utility and paid through all of your utility rates. Those rates at the moment, and at the last analysis by LIPA, and they do this on their own, December 2010, your electric rates are 41% less, including the payment of principal and interest for those bonds. 41% less than your neighbors in Merrick and in Baldwin. And I'll say this now, I am proud to be on a board of trustees that probably in the history of this village, it was the third most important thing they did with that electric utility, going back to in the late 1800s when it was formed, in 1922 when power plant number 1 was built, in 1969 when the original power plant 2 was built. The actions taken by the board will ensure low-cost electricity in this municipality for decades to come. Another $15 to $20 million of that debt is encumbered by our water department. Now, over the years, there was some infrastructure work that was not done, and the municipality had to do a lot of catch-up. We rebuilt every well in this village, and in 1975, on Prince Avenue, the village purchased that property for the express purpose of someday using that land to drill additional wells. The Glacken administration did that, and 2 additional wells were drilled up in that site. Again, The bonds are paid for not through your property taxes, but through your electric rates, and your water rates include the P&I for those bonds, and they are less than the surrounding communities. And once again, the old administration that did that work to ensure good quality water for years to come. On top of that, a lot of the road raising that was done, a lot of the bonds for that, where infrastructure work had to be done, was also done through the water department. And on top of that, the water tower, water on Sunrise Highway, that tower's got to be refurbished about every 10 years. $1.1 million was spent to do that there. So what's left? Approximately $50 million. And what did the administration do? There's $50 million left in bond indebtedness. Not all of it was done by the previous administration, but what improvements were made? We did roads all over the community. We rebuilt the recreation center. We put a bubble in the recreation center. We rebuilt the parks, north, south, east, and west. Lights, playground equipment. We bought equipment for our fire department, fire trucks, so on. Mr. Mayor, when you took office, all the heavy lifting was already done. And that's why you've been able to get away, and it's going to catch up with you soon, because you got to start doing some work throughout this community.
Mr. White, you're absolutely right. The heavy lifting was done before I got here.
It's gonna be